Recording in progress.
Okay. We got a few connected, and so that we could be on time.
I come out.
What's up, Tawana and Pinky? How y'all doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. What you think?
I didn't know how to work this daggone thing. Hey, cuz.
Hey, what's up? I hear you.
You don't know how to answer your phone. You don't answer your phone. I called you earlier.
Look, come on, man. We're on Facebook. We're live, man. Come on. Tell me something new. All right, look, good evening. Look, Pinky, Antoine, this and everyone that can hear us, this is really the history of the Freeman family, which we come from. Your parent is the 6th generation. Those that I'm talking to now, you know, they would be my cousins, Brenda, Johnny, and Mitchell, Baby Lost, and all of them. We are the 6th generation. The earliest family member we have is Isaac Freeman. The reports of him being born 1794 as a free person. He married a woman named Lucy Jackson. She was born like 1804. They had about 10 children. I'll go down to that. Out of their 10 children, one of them was named Epperson. He was born in 1843. He married a woman, Melissia Hunt, in 1852. Now, this Epperson, he moved to Milton, North Carolina. He was the first one out of our family direct that moved to Milton, North Carolina. He had a son named Madison. He married a woman, Mary Stevens. There's some of them spell it Stephen's during the Milton, Danville area still today. Then our earliest, then our great grandfather, for some of y'all, my grandfather, James, Mary Mitchell. I did the Mary Mitchell side a few months ago, but we're going to go into the Freemans. So if there's any questions or anything you'd like to try to ask, we could talk about it. I just mentioned Isaac, and he appears in different records. One of the records he appears in is in the 1820 census. And he's found back up in Meadowville, Virginia area. Then they range his age up from 26 to 44. And he listed two males listed in that age range. Then in 1830, he comes in and listed him around 36, which would be 10 years later. And then he lists also a daughter being born during that time. Then the first time you see that their names start coming out is in 1850. So then he mentioned the daughter, Eliza, Morton, Martha, Elizabeth, Chancey, Patience, excuse me, Epperson, who we come up out of Coleman, Isaac, and Andrew. Now, in these Freemans, there's a whole bunch of them. This is the area where they come out of, this Medville. Then he wound up moving over into this area, Scottsburg. This is the area where they live at now, most of the Freemans. that are descendants from Isaac and all of those relatives. Our descendants, as I stated, and this is still going with Scottsburg. It's a very, very small town. Here it states that it's 100, about 144 people in the 114 in the 2010 census. So there's a very few people in this town, but it's in the county called Halifax County. The biggest city is South Boston. This is the earliest record that we found of Isaac Freeman. When back in before African Americans got their freedom, those that were free, they had to have go to court every so often and get identified. So here it describes Isaac Freeman, a free man of color, was in this day registered in my office according to the said law. The said Isaac is of a dark complexion, around 36 years of age, 5 feet, 7 inches, 7.5 inches high, has a knot on the end of his fourth finger of the right hand, and was born free. You see this right here? That's what we see. No, they was born free. And this was recorded December the 22nd in 1834. This is the first record that we have of Isaac. And there's a few others. You know, there's a Betty Freeman that I saw in the records right behind it. And this was in 1814. Another unique thing for me, I found this guy named Thomas Hawk, which is Hawk is a Muslim name, means truth. The only other person that I knew was Sojourner Truth, had the name Sojourner Truth. Then you have a Robert Johnson. And then you had this, this here for a while, I thought this was possibly Isaac's father, but he's not that far different not old enough to be his father in the difference of age if Isaac was born in 1794. But this here is a man named Moses Freeman in the same area, but he was an African. He came directly from Africa. He got his freedom, and he was Moses of dark complexion, about roughly 43 years old, has on his right cheek a small scar, and he was given his freedom. And then you had this Bennett. Now this Bennett is definitely, you'll see later on, is a relative of Isaac. It's hard, we have to go any other records, you have to go into the Revolutionary War records to get understanding about Isaac Freeman. But this here is the 1820 census records and the 1830 census records. And that's when that map I showed you about Medsville, Halifax is the county. And then it's talking about three males. They were free colored people, and between the age from 26 to 43. But in the total households was 3. And then in the 1830, it's 2 males and under the age of 10. So now he got 2 children. And then Isaac, this is Isaac as 1 male. Then his wife was child, he had another daughter. And then his wife is listed here. So it says total free colored people is 5. So this is in 1830, you know, this is what, 35 years before African Americans got their freedom. This is 1850 census record. Now this part it says Northern District of Halifax, but that Northern District wound up being in what they call Scottsburg area. And this is Isaac, and then this is all of his children. This is Lucy Jackson, Eliza's Morton, Martha, Elizabeth, Cheney, Patience, Epperson is our family, is from us. Now you see that spell it with M-O, then there's Isaac Jr., and then Andrew. And this is they're being listed as free people, as listed as mulatto. And this is in the Virginia records. This is in 1850s census records. Then we come in the 1860 census records. You see Isaac, you see that Scottsburg Melt post office box. So you know he's in that area, even though it's Halifax County area. Now most of the children have grown and moved out. You just got Elizabeth Coleman and Andrew living. As I stated, Isaac married Lucy Jackson, and then the children that they had. And this is Eliza, and she and her children. Now this is Patience and her children, and with Patience, we're gonna talk a little bit about her. She's married into a Jackson, even though her mother was a Jackson. Well, Patience wound up marrying into the Jackson family and maintaining. When Lucy got old, she lived with Precious, and this is Epi, which is really our great or our ancestor, comes from Isaac Freeman, and then his sister Martha, and then being in that area of Virginia. This is Lucy in 1850. She lived in 1850 and still in that same area. And then the children, Eliza and Epperson. And then you see Epperson now in 1870 moved into Milton. And from Epperson is where our great-great-grandfather come up out of. I'm gonna back up for a minute. Hopefully I back up. Back it up. Reason why I want to back up, because I just saw right here, this is Epperson, even though this fellow's name Farman. One thing that you'll see in the census record, the spelling of the name being so different. Now, one thing, when we get a little bit later, I see there's a few blames online. Reason why you took a long time to find their heritage, because the census record spelled their name out about 3 different ways. And so if you're looking in any census records, you got to have some flexibility. But this is our great Epperson Freeman. They say Farman, Melissia Farman, and this is Matt, our my great grandfather. Let me get it straight. Isaac is first generation. Epperson is second generation. Matt is third generation. James is fourth generation. And then everybody on here, your grandparent is the fifth generation. Your parent is the sixth generation. And you are the seventh generation. Everybody that I see online now, y'all are the seventh generation. Your parent would have been the fifth generation. If I got a sixth generation partner. So Epperson married a lady, Melissia, even though they spell her name different, Melissia Hunt. But this is Matt and this is Eliza. Now, with Eliza, her children, they wound up being in Milton, North Carolina, but for some reason, our ancestors didn't know each other. Let me, if I could put it easy, your who I'm talking to? Yeah, your grandparent didn't know their cousins that lived in Milton, from what I've seen and been able to learn. And then if y'all need to ask me questions, please feel free. But these are the different families. This is Morton. You see the name, him giving his children the name Isaac, and Lucy named him after his family. And they wound up still in Halifax County. So we got a lot of different family members that will come from Isaac's children, from Epperson's family. This is from Isaac and Lucy. These are their children. This is Epperson, who we come up out of, who married Melissia Hunt, and then Madison, who we come up out of. Over here, you got a family of Richardson, of Freemans. We don't know nothing about. A whole generation of them. Elijah's Freeman's children, Morton Freeman's children. We don't know nothing about John. Catherine, Patience, Patience. And they're Jacksons. We don't know nothing about their children. Now there's somebody's contacting me now because I've done the DNA saying that they traced themselves, saying that they're part of our family. but we haven't been able to identify them. Then there's another group right here. Now this group, I believe, wound up in Campbell, Virginia, another part of Virginia. You know, so we're branched all over. Now we're coming into more of Isaac Freeman's son. Isaac is the earliest ancestor of ours. He was born free in 1794. He had those 10 children that you saw me just listed, and out of one of them children is Epperson Freeman, who is our ancestor, who moved to Milton, North Carolina. This is the area of Milton. And Milton is a very, 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 very small town. These are some photos of Milton in there. This here is, I guess, one of the most famous houses in the area. This is Thomas Day, who was an African-American famous furniture maker. And this is a very historical area for him being identified. Milton is a very small town. Our family wound up living on not far from, to the left of this, closer to this area. And the Mitchell house, and the Mitchell story, that yellow house where the Mitchell grew up in, lived in for a while, is back there. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about Milton, which is a very small town, and there are a few Freemen still left in that town. In this cemetery, which is very few markers that are there. We have some of our family members there. This is James Freeman. I was calling him my grandfather. His brother, John Freeman, is buried in there. James Freeman's wife, Mary Freeman, she's buried there. This is her day. And then their child, Melissia. This is a whole different group of Freemans. And then Glendora. And this is grandma, great-grandma Melissa Mitchell. She's buried there. Those are the ones that I've been able to identify through the Milton Cemetery with that information. Now, Epperson, he had 6 children. And these are children, our great-grandfather, brothers and sisters. And this is Madison, our great-grandfather, and then the children. He had a son, John, or Johnny, perhaps that's what Brother Johnny got his name from. James, Glendora, Melissia, Martha, Hugh, Burton, Ada, and then Rosa, Ruby Freeman. Here, then their sister Eliza Brown, and she wound up moving to Richmond. So there's some Browns and then some Bullocks and possibly Lewis. You know, I've not traced them since these years. And then Daisy Brown, she married a Sylvester Wright, and they still live in Richmond. So they'll be coming from the Epperson generation. Lucy married a Robert Ferguson, and haven't got no further information on her, nor Dicey. Epperson married a Martha Cousin and married Edmondson. Now, so that means it looks like you see quite a few of them moved in Richmond. So there's a group of family members in Richmond that will be Freemans and Browns and Wrights, and they'll be coming out of Madison Freeman's family, brothers and sisters and siblings. And then there's a few more here. And this is where I believe this Lizzie here, these are the Freemans that I believe that are living in Milton today. When I get to them, I'll talk about them. But this is the descendants of Epperson, who is our earliest ancestor after Isaac, that lived in Milton. He lived with his in-laws, the Hunts. He married this Melissia Hunt, and this is our great-great-grandfather, Matt, his sister Eliza. And then this is them in the 1880 census. And they seem like Epperson worked like his father as a ditcher. And this is them living in Milton. And this is and this is all the children listed. Madison was the oldest. And these are some of the Freemans years ago that I met. And while I was in Milton area interviewing, this young man knew he's married out. Some of the Freemans married into the Jeffreys. He took me over to this lady's house. I forgot her name, but she knew my aunt. She knew Aunt Di as Spun. She's like, I know Spun and Bob and them. So and she called Aunt Margaret. Anybody that knows her, they used to call Aunt Margaret Spun, and she had called her Spun, but they didn't know each other. Now this here, this is Mary Stevens or Mary Freeman. With her, you can see, for me, I see Aunt Lost in her. I see Darlene look in her quite a bit. This is her at an old age. And this is Grandpa Matt, James Freeman, and his mother. This is Mary. And this is Barbara Carroll and my brother Kenny. They visited them in the 60s. And so that's Madison. And who we just saw that man just pointed out was James. The woman I just pointed out was Mary Stevens. Now with those Stevens, I'm gonna stop. No, I'll wait, I'll come a little bit further. So Madison and Mary, they had a Johnny. This Johnny is unique. He married a Mitchell, Grandma Mitchell, Mary Mitchell's sister, Cecilia. And they lived next door, and then but they got divorced, and so he wound up living with the Freemans, and they married very shortly. Glendora wound up living in the Winston-Salem area. Believe she had one daughter named Mary Dora. I'm not sure what happened with her. Grandpa James Freeman, just when we come up out of, he married that Mary Mitchell, had James. I'm not even sure what Uncle James' middle name W was. Clarence, Rosalie, Dorothy or Dot, Laws, Margaret, Mabel, Morris, Freddie, and Dolly. It was 10 of them, and then their births. Martha, Monsignor, you see that they intertwined that name. This guy, Ho of Burton, he married a woman named Annie, and they wound up living in Dorchester, Maryland. There may be some possibility some type of family that he may have a child. We won't know until a little bit later. Other than that, there's no children other than our family on this level of the Freemans. So I'm gonna repeat. On our level of the Freemans, come about a Madison and Mary, Uncle, Grandpa James Freeman, all of these, Mary, James, Clarence, we know all of them. This family is all of us. We know all of them. And there's none that's on that great-great-grandpa James level that we have family. It goes back to Epperson and it goes back to Madison where we got other descendants at. I hope I brought a little clarity on that. Now this is the records in the 1900s. This is where we gather that information from out of them, the date and their birth, the type of labor that they did, the ages coming in. And then this is them in the 1910, and the labor and the work that they did. And this and here, this is in the 1910, they identified the street as Bridge Street that they lived on. Bridge Street is right on that corner where we of Williams Day, that space we have with William Day. This is all our your grandparents or your grandparents, if I got it right. And for some of us, our grandfather. This is James Freeman, and this is records in 1920. This is Mary, James, Uncle Clarence, Aunt Rose Lee, Aunt Dot, and this is his brother. Man, I told you his brother lived with him. And Grandpa James worked on the railroad. And Uncle John lived with them. Now that was in 1920. This is Uncle John, and they spelled his name all badgered up. This is Freeman, Uncle John, 1910. I'm living around the corner on High Street, where High Street Baptist Church is, living with his wife Cecilia. And by 1910 or 1920, he's separated. And they're living right next door to each other. This is Aunt Cecilia. She did social work. And the baby that they had that did not make it, this is the baby. But this is Aunt Cecilia, and this is her death notice and information about it. This here is that Mary Stevens, that Mary Stevens that looked like, for me, Aunt Laws. Okay, there's reports like Uncle Bob and them would say that she was a mean woman. This is her records in 1920. Now they're in Danville, Virginia now. At least she is, and she's working as a laborer. They're calling her a servant, and she has a child with her. This is that Ruby Freeman come in at. Now in 1930 as well. She's back in Danville, working as a servant, but with a different family. And then in 1940, she's living with her son, James. That picture that we saw of her and Kenny and Barbara Carroll, I guess it was B-Run, well, maybe even after that, because that was in the 60s, this is in the 40s, but there she goes there. Aunt Margaret, my mother, Uncle Morris, Uncle Bob, Uncle Dolly, and Lee with them. And this is say the grandson. This is the 1940 records. Now they're living in Danville. And then this is Ruby records from the 1920s and the 30s, identifying Ruby. Once again, this is that Mary Stevens. And I want to point out with this is, if there's any Native American Indian in us, it's going to come from her side. This is her photograph. This is a little different one with her hat, and it say Native American tribe Choctaw. And Mary Stevens. Now, and here, if you look at all the records from Uncle Bob on up, Dolly on up, all of them born, I guess, that in the Choctaw area, if you look at their birth records. Now, with Mary Stevens, we've been there, that family we engage. I see Morris is on here. There was a family, I remember the lady they used to call Maud, Maud Stevens, they would talk about. This is Maud, this is our grandmother, our great, that woman that showed the hat. They look at Darlene, and then this is her father and mother, the Stevens. And these are some of the children. And this is this Maud, this being 10 years old. Oh, man. Whoa. You know, and the reason why I'm saying, whoa, this Thaxton family, remember I told y'all, when we looked into the cemetery, one of the Freemans, one of the family's name was Thaxton. And I didn't know nothing about the Thaxton until I see it now. But this is that Maud Stevens is listed right there. This is Maud. This is our great-great-grandmother sister. This is Maud. This is Grandma Mary Freeman and her sister Rose. When I say Mitchell, let me say Grandma Mary Mitchell Freeman and her sister Rose. But this is Maud and her brothers. And then this is Maud at an old age. So and if you look on and inside the DNA records, that there's a lot of the Stevens have taken their DNA and have identified themselves. I have not contacted them, but I've seen it in DNA that they trace themselves back to Maud, and I know they're around. So that was that's James. This is him as a young guy, him as an old person. Mary Stevens, Barbara Carroll, James, and then Mary Mitchell. And then from James and Mary Mitchell, there was 10 of them. James Freeman had a wife, May. They lived in Atlantic City. Clarence lived in Bridgebrook, Connecticut. Died in 1967. Rosa Lee Freeman lived in the DC area. Matter of fact, Rosalie Richmond. She died in 1983. Aunt Dot lived in Bridgeport area. She was married to Robert Cruz. Aunt Dot had one child. Lee had, and that was Lee or Malcolm, and they had two. Aunt Loss, she married Uncle Thomas Blaine. They had 9 children, and they lived in the most majority of them lived in the Bridgeport area. Aunt Margaret had one, married a guy named Jimmy Douglas, and had a daughter, Barbara Carroll, and she had 2 children, Clayton Boland, who lives up in the Maryland area, and Erica Lewis, who lives in the DC area. Mabel West, she had 7 children. Ronnie lives in the New Jersey area. Kenny, Ricky, and James and Constance have passed, and God have mercy on them. I live in the DC area, and Merlin lives in Connecticut. Morris, there's 3 of them. Morris, well, really, it's Deborah Morris and Kenny. I believe Deborah moved to the North Carolina area, and Morris and Kenny, Dwayne is still up into the New York area. Frederick Freeman, Freddie, Uncle Bob, they have 4 children, and the majority of them live in the DC area. The Uncle Dolly, he had 3 children. Junior passed, his daughter Sharon passed, and you got James living in New Jersey. And this is Grandpa James and their records. 1820s, 1930s, 1940s. And Aunt Dot's son Lee lived with them. This is some of the death records. Just let you know like what street they lived on when they lived in Danville. And this is Aunt Dot. And this, remember I said that, make sure. This is the different Mitchell cousins, but this is the records of Aunt Dot when she passed and what type of work she did, and early photo. And I see my cousin Jackie's on. Some of the donations come from her photos. But this is showing some of the Indian territories. Here you see a little different spelling here, Choctaw, but this is, you got Catawaba, is where they all was born. So that's work for some of us, someone else to investigate. Now the 1950 census has just been released, and they got pretty good data. I knew, and many of us knew, that Aunt Dot worked for a family called the Kuhns. What I didn't know that the Kuhns was Russian Jews, but there go Aunt Dot and her husband. He worked with them as well as a hired hand. Then here, another thing that was blessed and easy, especially for a lot of the Blaines that are on here. This is Uncle Thomas in the 1950s. They spell it Blaine, B-A-B-L-A-M-E is how they spelt it. But this is in Pennsylvania, outside the Danville area. This is Uncle Thomas, Aunt Loss, Baby Loss, Gracie, Rosa, Patricia, Patsy, Mitchell, John, Mary, which is Grandma Mary Mitchell, who lived with them, Esther Mitchell, and this is why Baby Loss and the Ezekiels, all them got a good relation, and the Blaines got a good relationship with the Mitchell's family up in Springfield. They lived with them. Uncle Dolly lived with the Blaines. Lee lived with the Blaines. This is in the 1950s. My mother and them, the West, and I thought and them was in Connecticut. Herbert, my brother got the record wrong. Ronnie should have been 1 year old, not 7. He was born in 1950. Uncle Morris, I see Morris is in, and I don't have nobody muted off. I'm not sure if your father ever talked about living in Durham, but this is the only Morris Freeman we found at close to his age, and he was living in Durham, North Carolina in the 1950s during that period of time. Uncle Thomas, if y'all bear with me, I'm gonna go to the Uncle Thomas. We talked about him in the 1950s, helping maintain some of our family members. in 1940. This is him at the age of 21. In the street that they lived on in Danville. And Uncle Thomas' father's name and his mother, Allen. This is what Johnny, cousin John Allen is where he got his name, Allen. Mady Blaine. This is Uncle Thomas. Baby Loss, Aunt Loss, and Gracie. Even though you see them spelling their names bad, you know that's who they are. Uncle Thomas, father and them in 1930, he was the only son. And he worked at the cotton mill. So you see Allen. Now with this one, they spell the name B-L-A-N-E. 1920 is the only time you find that they spelled the name right.
This is literally the first time I've ever seen this.
I know. Mine's too. Trust me, man. I wish Baby Lost, please. You know, so please y'all forgive me. You know, I owed it to Baby Lost. So you see this Blaine. I always knew that Uncle Thomas was raised by himself. I mean, you know, the only child. But here you see where you say that the brother-in-law, so that means this Maddie is a Brown. These are her brothers and sisters. Pardon me for getting off track, but I figured I had to share that. That's our family. Right?
It's okay. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem. Grandpa James Freeman, Mary Mitchell, this is her woman I know. James W. Freeman, Clarence Freeman, Rosalie, Aunt Dot, Baby Lost, Aunt Lost, Aunt Margaret. And another thing that you see they pass down, intertwine the names. Of course, we know about James. We see Mary. Merlin, Lost's middle name was Merlin. That middle name was Elwood. My brother Ronnie's middle name was Elwood. Cecilia was, we talked about Cecilia, the first Cecilia, Grandma Mary Mitchell's sister. You saw Cecilia. You got a Cecilia, a Mitchell in Springfield. You got Penny's daughter, Cecilia. My mother, Virginia. My daughter, Tia's Virginia. I spelled it wrong here. I know it's Richard. My brother, Ricky, is Richard. You know, and so we see certain names that we pass down the lines, sometimes in the middle, or sometimes it's not. This is Grandma, Rosalie, Uncle Bob, Inez, my pops, Aunt Lois, my mother, Aunt Dot, Aunt Margaret, Barbara Carroll's, one of Barbara Carroll's friends, and Sandra, and Barbara Carroll. And I'm not sure who house that was, but that was in the 60s coming together. So this is Aunt Margaret, Aunt Dot, my mother, Grandma Mitchell, Freeman, Rosalina, Morris, his wife May, the girls, Rosalie, Margaret, my mom. I guess it was wig time. Only when it wasn't wearing wig was Aunt Lois. Aunt Lois and my mom's. And this is the family story. I will put this out as well. It's a large file, so I'm not sure how much we could put out. But this is Uncle James, the oldest. This is him as a baby. Him as an adult with Aunt Dot. Uncle Morris. We just showed that Morris, my mom. This is Uncle Morris and Uncle Clarence. This is the tombstone of Uncle Clarence, which is in Park Cemetery. This is the only picture I've seen of Uncle Clarence. This is the tombstone of Uncle James. This is Rose Lee as a little girl and as an elderly. And then her tombstone. Uncle Dolly's oldest son, Junior. Aunt Dot, her son, Lee. her daughter Jackie, Jackie's mother Vivian, and Vivian's daughter Sue, Margaret, Margaret's daughter Barbara Carroll, Lee's son Petey, and this may be Petey's son, Aunt Dot, and myself, Lee, Aunt Dot's husband. These are two pictures of Uncle Robert. These are different pictures of Aunt Dot and her family. Sue, Lee, Aunt Dot, my mom's Lee, Aunt Dot, Jackie, Kenny and Aunt Dot. And for some of the girls, you can see some of the similarities of the looks. Jackie and her mother, Aunt Dot, Jackie, Lee. This looked like Patsy, I'm not sure. Lee and Patsy, Petey, Jackie, Aunt Laws. And these are some of the photographs, that we've been able to by us coming together. Jackie, Sandra, and myself, and I think we even got some from Uncle Dolly. But this is Aunt Margaret and her family. This is Clayton and Erica, and they are both around here. I'm not sure if this is Jim or Aunt Margaret's husband or not, but this is Margaret and Barbara Carroll. Different photographs of Aunt Margaret. And then we tell their story. Both of these ladies were biased. Both of them were Libra, born in October. And we're gonna come into the Blaines. Uncle Thomas and Aunt Laws, my pops and moms, Rosa, baby Laws, Patsy, Gracie, Mitchell, my brother Kenny, Junior, Johnny, Ronnie, Barbara Carroll, Ricky, myself, Merlin, my sister, Sandra, Brenda, Uncle Bob and Inez and Aunt Dot. And we was at one of those birthdays at Aunt Law's house. This here is Aunt Law's tombstone, which is online. This is Aunt Law's with Jeffrey. This is a little clearer picture of Aunt Law's on Dot. This here is one of Johnny's friends, one of the PT neighbors, and this is Stevie. This here is the Dix. This is Peter Dix. This is Kathy Dix. This is Gracie. I'm not sure the young man with baby Laws. And Patsy and Grandma, baby Laws, Stevie. Not sure, this is Gracie and Kathy, of course, Johnny. I'm not sure if this is Eddie or not. Brother Johnny, Ronnie, Aunt Laws, Jeffrey, Kenny, Uncle Thomas, Ricky, Grandma, and then the rest. Inez, Peter Dix, Kathy Dix. Aunt Laws, Uncle Thomas, and then the girls. This here is Kathy, Terry, and Junior. Gracie. And then there's Kathy at the older age. This is Kathy as a baby. Terry, Kathy's daughters, Bobby's daughters. Junior's son, Gracie as a child, Gracie as an adult, with some of her grandchildren. Gracie was the oldest of the Blaines. Bobby and his children, Terry, and Kathy's daughter. Hopefully we'll get some more. This here is Baby Loss. This is the youngest picture we got of Baby Loss. Baby Loss ain't changed a bit. And her children, along with Penny and her sister and brothers, and her two sons, Mike and Eddie. Stevie, who was the oldest, Stevie's son and his children, Darlene, Janet, Mike, Stevie and his couple of his children, Eddie and Darlene's son. This is the Blaines in one of the summers. Family reunions. Darlene's children.
Look at you, DJ.
All right. Yeah, you got Darlene, Michael.
How you gonna do me like that?
Yo, man, this is what you got. This is what you put out.
I could have sent you something updated, man. You gonna
Yo,
put
man,
me out there like that?
Yo, look, you put it out to the world, brother. Anything you see up here, y'all put out to the world, Jack. I don't do nothing but go to Facebook and picky boo. There you go. There's a few that they sent. My family, your family, you know, and the reason why they mess with Baby Lost, man. Baby Lost was my girl, man. My protector, man. Them Blaines, man. Oh, man. I love them, man. Oh, my God. That's a whole different story.
Throwback for me.
I hear you. This is Janet and her children and her grandchildren. Then this here is Uncle Dolly, who just passed. This is Rosa Blaine, believe it or not. You can still see that little fuss look that she got in there. There go Rosa right here. Rosa. I don't have that many pictures of Rosa, but there go Rosa Blaine. Rosa and her family, and Russell Muscle and the boys. And this here is the tombstone of the passing of their father.
They was on my side.
Say what?
Yeah, they had that picture of me with the Malcolm X shirt. For all of us, I'm holding Dee Dee.
Yeah. Your mama in there?
Yeah.
Not like she's talking to?
No, she ain't on the Zoom. My cousin Tawana.
Look, don't be talking, had no personal conversation going on. So this is the Blaines and this family and their descendants. I mean, the Hopkins, pardon me. So as far as that Freeman side of the family, we majority know each other. What we don't know, our children's children don't know each other. So this is Patsy and her son, Timmy. And this is Timmy's family. Mitchell. Mitchell's family, Lisa. This is the Fernandez of our family and her children. Johnny, Peggy, two of the girls. Don't get quiet now, John. John, you can talk. You can probably break it down more than me, man. Come on, man. Look, Tawana, come on. Any of y'all see? That's what I'm here. Y'all take it and just tell me to move forward. Go ahead. Let me hear y'all.
I was busy.
Who's this?
It's my bad.
Who's this? Do y'all see the arrow?
I know who that is.
I'm not sure. I think she been added mistakenly.
Okay. Put in the wrong group, huh? All right. Who's this?
Tanya.
Who's this?
I can't see where the arrow is.
It's the only
That's my
man that-
husband. That's
Very
Joe.
good.
JB.
Very good. I was just ready to say, now who's this?
That's me, Tawana.
All right, who's this?
Tawana. I don't know who that person is.
I don't know who that is.
Said, that's me, Tawana.
Who's that? I heard somebody say that's me, but who's that me?
Yeah.
That was Pinky that came on and said that. She said,
Oh.
that's me, Tawana.
That's right, Tanya. You put it on Facebook. He got you.
I love that picture.
Y'all talking about y'all jailhouse break?
Got him.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's my squad.
Uh-oh, who is that? Who is that right there?
Where
John
at?
Blaine and the crew.
That's my
That's
cousin.
my wife.
Right. Who's that? We heard your squad. What you mean squad? Somebody
my-
on TV? Who's this?
That's my wife, Nichelle.
Right here, the littlest one.
That's Little Justice.
In your arm.
That's John Blaine the third.
On
That's
top.
Jalen. And that's Jalen.
Okay. All right. Thank you for putting them pictures out.
You're welcome.
Who's the girls? Who's going to talk about the
My
girls?
girl. Those are my
Who?
girls. That's Sade, Adia, and Tiana.
Now, who's not my girls? Now, most people that's listening don't know who
I'm
you.
Tanya. I'm Johnny's oldest.
There we go. All right, now you're acting like Johnny. There you go, girl. All right, now we're gonna go to Jeffrey. We gotta work with Jeffrey, man. We need more about Jeffrey. This is all I got. This is Jeffrey as a little baby. I believe this is Penny. Jeffrey and Penny. Jeffrey and his wife and the two boys. This is
No,
it.
that's his daughter and his two boys.
Get out of here for real.
Yeah.
Thank you. Look, that's why we need something. So look, we got to fill that up and Penny. This is what I got to see in them. This is what we got to do. To add those up.
You gotta add her son. Her son on there. Gotta get some pictures of her son. And her son got 2 kids now.
Okay. What's her son's name?
Gene.
Okay.
I need to add him to our group.
That's just Eugene.
I gotta update mine too. I don't think you got my kids up there.
Nope.
Very good. And the Hopkins. We're gonna need help with the Hopkins and Jeffrey. And these are some. This is how I've been able to come up with the names from the Blaines, the Brooks, Dix, Hopkins, Ezekiel, Joseph, Mosby. From them, the Butts, the Collins, the Fernandez, the Guys, Jennings, Pierce, Walton, Webb is where I knew, and I stopped at. I know there's more, so you see that there's more to deal with. Because I will be gone one day. I will die soon.
Not
so this
too
is how I, huh?
Not too soon.
Please. I hear that. I ain't like a time, but reality. I'm baby lost and her children. And then, Eddie's. Then I try to break down the ones that I knew. And then Gracie's, and then her children. Rosemary.
I get Chrissy and her kids. That's all
Chrissy Dix.
Hey,
yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. See, that's this is the start. I'm gonna try to put it online. I will try to eat those that want it. I will try to email it. It's a large PowerPoint file. But I believe I could put it out. But then they come into, Mitchell's, Johnny's. And so y'all can even see y'all. You see the gaps I got all down here. Same thing with Jeffrey and the same thing with Penny. All right. And basically, and what I'm showing here is I told some of y'all came in later, this group of people right here, this is the 6th generation. The first one was Isaac. The second was Epperson. Now, for those that came in late, we got family that Isaac has siblings, like our greatest ancestors came from Isaac to Epperson. Epperson has brothers and sisters. Epperson's brothers and sisters got descendants that are alive and living by different names. I think Jacksons and Browns and I think Wrights. And if I recall right, I think they lived in the majority of them was in the Richmond area. The next wave of descendants that had siblings was Madison. Madison had a couple of descendants that had children. One of them lived in Milton, and I showed that. But our generation, James had none. He's the only one that had children. So this makes Bill Lawson is the 6th. Stevie, Catherine, all of them is the 7th. The 8th is their children. The 9th, if anybody got children, any Jeffrey and all of them, Cecilia and them got grandchildren. If any of this got grandchildren, because they're only dealing with the children, then we'll have 9 generations. But this y'all primary the 7th. Many of us are the 6th, and then the 8th. All right, now we're gonna move. Any questions that I did with them so far?
Nope.
Okay. All right, now we're gonna move to my mom's, Mabel. This is her as a young girl, her and my pops. Her in 1946. Patsy Morris and my mom's. Uncle Morris, lost Dot, Dolly, and my mom.
Hey, fam.
My pops, my brother
Hello.
Ricky, James, me. This is the Beardsley Terrace where we came up out of. That's me with the thumb. This is Ronnie, Kenny,
Hey,
Ricky.
fam.
Yes.
Uncle Amir, which
And
building
then-
is that? At the
This
terrace.
is building 4.
See?
This is building 4 where we lived
Gotta
at.
get the
This was
done.
Right, Constance.
this is Constance, check this out. See this big head right here?
Is that
That's Merle. That's your mom. That's
wow?
Merle. That's me and Merlin on a bike in front of the terrace.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
This here, that's Merlin. That's Kathy Dix, Terry Dix, and Joe Dixon. This is on Dot's car. And this is the boys, Ronnie, Ricky, Kenny, Merlin. All of them got hats on but me. I don't know why. Man, these are pictures, man, that people have donated. This here was our bar. You open it up and they got all the drinks. And the Ronnie, Kenny, Ricky, myself, and Merle. And then I can remember this rack right here. This is Ronnie, Junior, Merlin, Kenny, and Ricky. And that's us again, all but James. My pops, Merle, my moms, James, myself, Kenny, Ronnie, Kenny, Ricky, myself, James, my pops, Kenny's son, Jermaine, and Kenny's his daughter. My oldest daughter, she's really the oldest girl. You know, we didn't have no girls before her. All we had was boys. My little sister had died, so it was just Merle. Atia, Constance, Taylor, my daughter Aisha, and then Atia. And then this is, I believe, 1976, Ricky, a family friend, Mr. Irvin, Ronnie, Kenny, Rashid, Dot, a Georgia cousin, myself, Jennifer, Merlin, and Charles. And this is us. This is one of the summers. Ah, you know who this is, Jordan? I think you're on here. You know who this is?
I know that little
Yeah.
face.
I hear that. And this is James' first wife. And then there's Aisha and then Atia, your moms. So these will be our grandchildren. And then I broke it down as far as Ronnie and his children. Ronnie has a little boy and my pops. Ronnie, his family, Jordan and their moms, Ronnie and his wife.
Look, the younger generation need to be on here.
I hear you. Well,
I agree with you.
I am recording it. So I will update. I will do. I will upload it.
Look, it's
This
too
is
late
being
when you-
recorded.
When you walking your significant other to the family function and you find out y'all second cousins.
Yeah, yo, man, I hear you, brother. I hear you. I hear you. All right, this is Jordan's moms and my ex-wife, my children's moms. Ronnie and his oldest daughter, Lindsay, and her children, Jordan, and then Jordan and my two girls. And her, matter of fact, Jordan, you on? Who you? Come on, I put it on the blame. Come on, who's this?
Get it.
I don't know. Nothing.
Where's your cursor? On Michael?
I'm Michael.
That's Lindsay and Michael. And then the bottom picture of the girls, the taller one, that's Corinne. And the little one's Nina. Lindsay's
Where they
kid.
live?
They're in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, all right.
Georgia.
And Jordan lives in DC. And now we're gonna come to my brother Kenny.
Jordan, you took over Capitol Hill yet?
I mean, you know, just around here. Aisha and I are a few blocks from each other. So y'all should come visit. We're all here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. DC, the place for the family. Matter of fact, look, please, if you ever want a reunion, that's what it's gonna be. All right, so this is Kenny and his family. This is when me and my brother Kenny and James, all us went out to Motown. Check out Motown. We took a road trip. And this is Jermaine, and this is gonna be his future wife. This is James. Jermaine as a little baby. This is Jermaine as a baby. My mom's holding him. Jermaine is his daughter, and my brother-in-law, pardon me, and Bill, and his daughter. Pardon me? Somebody said something? And then Raven, Jordan, Jermaine,
Go ahead and take it.
Atia, Raven, Atia's husband, Percy, one of her daughters, and these are Kenny's grandchildren. Then Ricky has a baby. I want to thank his daughters and them putting couple of these pictures out. And then this is Ricky's grandchildren that lives in North Carolina.
Somebody has a hot mic.
Yes.
You're not the only one to stick this.
I think we got it now. And that's me, my Ricky visiting us at our bookstore. Ricky and his daughters and grandchildren. Wayne, little James,
guys.
Uncle Dolly's son. And I think y'all know this girl. You know who this girl is?
Everybody know who that girl is.
Especially was the person who started.
Pinky.
Everybody but the one I didn't hear. And that's my little brother, James. And this is when I had my bookstore, my wife, Habiba. This is Aisha's event. And this is when I really thought I was cool. So this is me, my boys, and my grandchildren, and my daughters. Now, somehow I made this mark on it. I don't know how to take it off, so bear with it. So this is my grandchildren. All of them are grown. I got 2 little ones, but the majority are grown. So all y'all, John, you see what they look like, right? So you know I need help, right?
There's just a
Yes.
of feminists on every side of you.
And this is Merlin as a baby. At this point, this is Merlin when she was throwing a baton. All right, this is Constance. I believe she's on the phone, I believe online. Courtney and her father, Bill, Constance, and really who's her name. Now, there's one of the stories that me and my sister shared with. I very seldom tell this story. But, you know, we lost our sister, Constance, in between, and this was in 63. So in 63, I'd have been 9 years old. My sister would have been about 7 going on 8. So her death really touched us. So before I even had a daughter or anything, me and my sister used to talk that, you know, we were gonna name our child after her. But she had it, I was gonna give it to her, let her do it. And that's how Constance got her name, Constance. You know, so and that's Merlin's family. But Constance was very close, meant something to me and my sister. And that's how she named her after that. Matter of fact, this is the only time I seen Constance in my mother's arm. I'm sorry it's not a clear picture, but this is James and his first wife, and this is Constance as a little baby, and this is her.
I've never seen these pictures. Uncle Amir?
No.
I don't think so.
Cousin Amir.
Yes.
Do anybody have pictures of my grandmother's son that passed, Timothy?
No, man. He's recorded in the census records, but I never seen no pictures, man. Never seen no pictures. Never seen no pictures.
What? One more question.
Right.
And this is my brother James and his true expressions. Every one of them. And this is my brother and his second wife. And I guess watching the cowboy pictures and the combat pictures really influenced him to come join the military. But I thought this is a beautiful poem or words that they expressed for his funeral about the tears. So this tells our family story. So I will put it up online. And like I said, this is we're the 6th generation. Jermaine and all of y'all that's online is the 7th generation. And then their children are the 8th. Yes, somebody said something. So that's the Freeman side. I mean, the west side of the story. And come the Morris side. Morris is still here, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, my brother. I guess it's your turn, man. Who's this guy right here, man?
That would be me.
Right, that's me too. Who's me? That's Morris' son.
Yeah, I'm Morris Jr. That's who's talking. I guess at the first picture in the left corner, that's me and looks like Freddie, right? And then my father with me, you know, like that's a picture in Connecticut, probably when I was a little boy. And then to right, that's Lois, my dad, and my mother. And then on the bottom left, the front picture, that's Dwayne. That's my younger brother. Of course, to the left, that's Jeffrey. On the back, I don't see it as good. That's Dwayne again by himself. And then that's my mother, and me on the right.
Very good.
And that's on the top. Oh, that's my dad when he was younger playing football. Actually, I got the picture of him standing up. I don't have the one of him squatting. I don't have that one. Up on the top is my dad with looks like Lois. I'm on the bikes. I don't have a clear. I'm not sure who that is on the
There's
bikes.
probably some of his friends, but this is your dad with the hat on.
In the middle, right? That's my dad in the middle. That, you know, I think the one on the guy in the front, I think that's his friend John Robert. And then on the top, that's my dad, and then on the bottom is my dad with your mom Mabel.
My mom's right,
and your
Patsy.
father, and who's that in the middle with next to your father in that shot in the bottom?
Patsy.
Patsy. Okay.
Patsy Blaine.
Right.
And
then
that's you and Brenda.
Me and Brenda. That looks like it's somebody's wedding. Was that Marilyn's wedding?
Maybe James' wedding.
James' wedding? Okay.
If you went to James, but it do look like a wedding. Now, you know these pictures?
Yeah, that's me, my mother, and my sister. Then my father with the suspenders, and then my sister by herself. And then that's your mother, Uncle Dolly, Dot, Lois, and my dad. Then my dad kept smoking a cigarette. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's me as a baby. Then that's me. Wow, you pulled that off the internet. So that was me, you know, where I had to like, you know, throw a picture up on Facebook at the Essence Festival, I think in 2014. That's Deborah in the middle. And that's Deborah, my mom, at her 85th birthday, and me. And then on the bottom, that's me. I don't know, you pulled that from somewhere. I can't remember who that is. And
those are Deborah's husband. Deborah and her husband.
No, that's on the bottom in the center. I'm talking about on the bottom left. In the bottom center left under the picture from the Essence Festival is me and Andrea. That's one of my business partners. And then that's Deborah and her husband. Both of the pictures on the bottom, the center bottom and the right bottom, that's Deborah and her husband, Barry. Right. I don't know. She should. I thought she was on. Deborah, you not here?
No, she would have said something.
Oh, that's me in the cool days with my Alpina sunglasses.
Fly guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, he represent what the Freeman men believe they are. This picture right here represent what the Freeman men believe who they are. I don't know none that didn't.
And that picture, I mean, I was working at Black Enterprise magazine because I did a promotion in order to get those Alpina glasses, because those were some stupid expensive glasses that they want to pay for.
So, but now, on family, did Deborah have any children?
Yes.
See how this story is not told.
She has a son. His name is.
Your story is not told.
I thought she sent that in.
No,
and Dwayne is DWYNE.
Okay. So you gonna send it in then, Mr. Morris? And while we're online,
I'll get it to you.
Who's Deborah's children? While we're online,
this Marcus Barry.
Okay.
So I think he's 39. He's 39.
You got any children?
No.
Marcus.
No, okay. Not that we know about.
On your end, for you.
Javon, he's on. Yeah, actually, he's on. I think he joined us a little late. I think he's here.
I thought I saw some Javon earlier.
Hey, fam.
He should be here. He just his name just popped up. He didn't say anything though.
Okay. Dwayne, do he has any?
No, he doesn't have any children.
Okay. All right. That'll work. And his mother's maiden name was Boone. I saw her census records.
Yes.
Her family census was able to trace. So we will try to update and fill this one in. Pinky, I believe, is online. You go on, Miss Pinky? Okay, well, till she come on, this is her grandfather, Uncle Bob. And I'm not sure if this is Uncle Thomas or not. We went through this photo before. This Uncle Bob looked like in the 70s. Aunt Inez, and I'm not sure who the baby is. This is Uncle Bob, Aunt Margaret, Uncle Morris, Uncle James, Aunt Rosalie, Aunt Laws. Uncle Bob and his wife, Aunt Inez, and Aunt Dot. This is Pinky's mother, Brenda, as a baby, and Brenda as more of a teenager. Sandra as a young child, Sandra as a teenager. Freddie as a baby. Oh, man, you gonna come on? Who's that? Who?
Y'all see
Don't
my
be-
mama? Y'all see my mama?
You know we love your mom.
Look at my mama, y'all.
And okay, very good. So next time you start going through these pictures, don't you go off. This is Sandra,
Yeah, this is my mama.
and then her as a teenager, Freddie, Sean as a baby, and Sean as a young. So now break it down, Pinky.
Look at me.
Who's this?
Look at me.
Who's this? Who's this? Pinky, stay online. All right, well,
Yes,
this
I'm
is
right
Brenda.
here.
Who's this?
She will.
I can't see. Wait a minute. Where you putting the arrow at?
By Shawnee. Somebody you should
Wait a
know.
minute. I gotta zoom in. Hold on. Let me see.
She gonna
That's Johnny and Sandra.
with an S.
Okay, who's Shawnee?
Johnny's my oldest daughter.
Okay. And that's your mama, so that's her granddaughter.
And that's my mama, and that's my aunt.
Spratley. Do y'all know
Okay.
Spratley?
Now this here is Clayton. This is Barbara Carroll's son. This is one of the few times he came out. Pinky, who's these? Who's this? All right, this is Pinky's sister Tracy. This is Sean's daughter. And this is Pinky's daughter. And these are Tracy's children. And that was Freddie and Sean seeing Uncle Dolly for one of the last few times. Brenda, Pinky's brother Kevin and Tracy, Sandra, Pinky, my granddaughter, Pinky, TJ, and Tracy, Kevin, and Brandon, Aunt Inez, Uncle Bob, Brenda, and Togo, Pinky and Tracy, TJ, Brenda, and TJ's wedding. And there's a little Tracy right there. And these are Brenda's grandchildren. These are Brandon's girls. This is Brenda, her son-in-law, her father, her two daughters, and her grandchildren.
Look at my family, y'all.
Why you always come in the wrong time, man? Right?
She had that doggone Anacostia.
And then who's this, Pinky? Then you go off. No, I can't depend on you, girl. Pinky's daughter, and this look like one of Tracy's children, and Kevin's daughter, and Pinky's daughter. I'm sorry we're not gonna get the full detail because she's going in and out. But these are Pinky's daughters. She's gonna pop back in now. And this is Kevin, Uncle Bob, and my mother. Mother was the youngest girl, and Uncle Dolly was the youngest boy. Sandra and her husband, Wayne.
Hey.
Sean and Wayne. Sean and Sandra, pardon me. This is, as a matter of fact, this is James' wedding. This was my brother's wedding. This, for the longest time, man, I thought this was Freddie, but this is James and Sandra, and then Brenda. When I say James, that is Uncle Dolly's son, James. Cousin Freddie, him at the White House. And see, so when I said they got that Freeman coolness, that Freeman, see, Freddie got it too. And then Sean and his family. And we tell Uncle Bob's story. from Pink, Brenda's children, then there's children. Then Sandra really didn't have no children. Freddie didn't have no, and then Sean has some. So we try to break down their family, and then Aunt Inez had a child, so we gave up the information about her child. Uncle Dolly. This is his son Junior, the oldest one. Uncle Dolly, his son Junior, and his wife Barbara. Uncle Dolly, and this is Uncle Dolly with little James. Years ago, the last reunion, we found Uncle Dolly's daughter. This is Jackie, Uncle Dolly, James, Freddie and Sean, Uncle Dolly, little Junior, Uncle Dolly, my brother, Uncle Dolly, my Andre, and Uncle Dolly and Dot. This is my last time seeing Uncle Dolly before he went living with James. James and his two girls, James and his wife, or James and his wife and his two girls, Sandra, Uncle Dolly, little James, Wayne, myself, and Uncle Dolly. This is Uncle Dolly's daughter, her two children, Junior, little James' wife, little James' two children, the two grandchildren, his daughter, and then James and his two daughters. God rest Uncle Dolly's soul. Uncle Dolly and the past obituaries of his two children, Dolly Jr. and Sandra, and Uncle Dolly and Mitchell. So when we break down Uncle Dolly and his family in this story, so there's some miles, he still has some descendants that are still living, and they're somewhere out in the Maryland area. So this is how coming in, and as Aunt Dot, with her family, most of her family last names are Freemans, but I lost the Blaines, Brooks, Dix, Hopkins, Ezekiels, Joseph, Mosby, Butts, Collins, Fernandez, Gann, Jennings, Pierce, Walton, Webb, and I know I'm missing some.
We gotta update Butts. It's Bester now. Gotta take that off of there.
All right. Bolins and Margaret, Bolins and Lewis. The West, Holden, Muhammad's, Adams, Clemens, Bells, Gills, Lucky, Muhammad's, Rolla, Rogers, Smith, Spencer's, Turners, and West. The Morris, Freeman's and Berries. Bob, Uncle Bob, Freeman, Buckman, and Thomas, and Freeman and Brown. Uncle Dolly, Freeman, Artist, and Miles is telling our family story. So I hope that I shed some light on our family.
Okay, who is that brother to you? Oh, because he running the show.
Who's to me? Ask the question again.
No. It's me, because I'm Sean. I'm down Anacostia Park, and we have somebody down here that's from where you say you from again? They from Halifax.
What's your name?
What's your
part of
last name? Spratley.
SP.
Spratley Trainers and Trainums and Mortons.
Spratley Trainum
from Halifax.
From Halifax. Do you know any of them?
Hey, Pinky, we live, darling. We live. No, we don't. We can continue. Call me back in about 20 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Any other questions? No other questions. All right, but I thank y'all for your time. I will update it. I will put it up online on the Facebook. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Amir.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You too.
Awesome presentation.
All right.
Hey, that's the baby's name.